the waiting game.
Yeah.
We wait for the technology. And we hope.
Playing a commercial.
Twitch is playing a commercial. Why on earth would it do that?
Guess what game it's for? Just guess.
Apex?
It is Apex.
Apex. Yeah. Imagine that. Welcome to the Apex chat tonight, where we're going to be discussing nothing but Apex.
Right. I was really tempted to try it. Really, really tempted. But then they changed ADC back to normal, so.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a thing, too.
Yeah. We're good on both, Cole.
We are good? Are you serious?
I'm serious.
Is this thing about to start?
Let's start the show.
It's that time. The time when we get to talk trash to somebody. Jordan, are you as Yeah, it is not to each other. Are you as excited about this as I am?
I'm so excited. It's a big week. It's a big day. It's a surprise pod.
It's a surprise show. We don't do this very often. But let me tell you that we are excited to spread the love/hate towards Clutch Gaming, because guess what? We are definitely going to be beating them this weekend.
I mean, the gauntlet has been dropped.
The gauntlet has been thrown down.
Yeah.
For everybody watching, I'm Cole. That is Jordan. This is 100 Talk, but it's a special edition because it is a cross-pollination of beautiful, beautiful fan casts that are team-oriented. And if you don't know, when two podcasts love each other very much, sometimes...
Whoa, hang on now. Hang on. Love is a very strong word, guys.
That wonderful voice that you are hearing is our mystery man. Let's bring him on. Come on down, Zach Lindsey. Now, for all of our viewers, please excuse the offensive article of clothing he has on.
Oh, no. There's no excuse here. This is 100% intentional.
You notice he's it's not a red shirt that he's wearing. Well, that's because only one team has the right to really represent red in the Red Rivalry, and that's the team that's 5-0, 100 Thieves. Now,
5-0 overall, all time.
Yeah, man, that sounds great, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, before we get into it, and just so everybody knows, this is all in good fun. We actually are quite fond of this young man. We're going to let Zach tell us a little bit about how he started his podcast, which is League Leaders. And if you'd like to follow League Leaders, you can do so at
League_Leaders1 on Twitter, or you can follow me. I'm ZLindsey01 on Twitter. That's ZLINDSEY 01. And yeah, we are a Clutch Gaming fan-centric podcast. We have a great time. It's me and my dad that do it. Unfortunately, Dad is a radio morning show host, so he's already asleep right now, or else he'd be tearing it up in chat, just saying. He's been very, very dangerous since I taught him how Twitch chat works.
Yeah.
There's
gets
been
a little
more than
loose
one
with it, huh?
occasion that I have changed his password to Twitch to keep him from getting banned. Just saying. He gets really hyped up in our podcasts. It's edited. It's brought down.
Probably a smart move.
Man.
He sure
awesome.
does.
Yeah.
He sure does.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started a podcast with him when he had moved down to Houston for work. And when the Houston Rockets got involved, when franchising came, I was like, hey, Dad, this is that game I've been telling you about that you've been fussing at me. Like, why are you watching other people play video games? It's bad enough you play video games. And I'm like, Dad, you watch football, you watch basketball. You're now the biggest fan of the Houston Astros. Like, come on. You know what it's like to be a sports fan. This is just esports. So then we spent all of Spring Split 2018 up until the miracle run over TSM in the quarterfinals prepping. And as soon as we realized, holy crap, they are in for playoffs, we got to publish. We got to get going.
Yeah.
So we have hit the ground running and not stopped since.
Yeah, and I think so we actually started our show just about the same time as you did. At least we published ours. I think you guys were probably recording before we were. So it was kind of cool to see these things emerge at the same time. And I think actually I wasn't aware of it initially until you were on the Recall podcast. which Aaron and Zing host. Which shout out to the Recall podcast. We love those guys too.
Check them
Great
out.
dudes.
Yeah,
great
dudes for sure. And I heard this. I was like, oh wow, like another team has like a podcast. This is cool. Like we're not the only people trying to make this thing. So
that's the same reaction I had when I heard about you guys.
Yeah.
Actually.
So
we're not the only ones. Hang on.
Right. Yeah. And then we copied you and went on recalls. No, but let me say, so again, just to preface this, like this is all everything we say is in good fun. And we've actually had the wonderful opportunity. And what's up, Clutch Gaming in the chat? I'm not sure I like the emotes that you're spamming, but at the same time, I'm happy you're here.
I love it.
Yeah. We got everybody representing. It's nice. But yeah, so we're excited to have you here, and we made an appearance on your show just a couple of days ago, and I think it was published today. So if you haven't seen that, go through our respective Twitter feeds. You'll be able to find that. So being is that we broke down some aspects of the matchup already on that show. We'll talk about the game for a little bit and ask some kind of tangential questions, have a little bit of fun, and then this will be just a nice little short show for you guys. So now I already did it. I brought up the 5-0 thing. Okay. Now this is I'll throw you a little olive branch here. Though the record is 5-0, those games have been nail biters. It's been so close. They've been protracted. It's just been an insane series to watch. So the rivalry has actually been close, even if the record isn't. I want you, though, to make the case to 100 Thieves fans who are just so sure about the win this weekend that, it's like, oh, well, what compelling reason do I have to even watch Clutch Gaming get curb stomped? Go ahead and make the case for us why this is going to be a hyped matchup.
All right, I want everybody to just get out your watch, your timer, whatever it is, and stop, because it's going to be Tanner time. Our man in the mid lane, Tanner DeMonte, has been tearing it up. Even when Clutch has been going down, we did have a couple losses here in week 2. Tanner has been incredible. And I'm just saying, he is going to have some words to say to Huhi, and they're not going to be nice.
And as we see the Tanner time emote come out in the chat, that is
there it is.
Something.
You got my back, Duka. You know what it's about.
And,
oh my gosh, that's an amazing emote.
I have to be on record as saying on your show, I was really, really, really impressed with him. And yeah, okay, so there's something in mid lane, all right. But what do you have to say about the side lanes?
Well, about the side
I'm
lanes,
thinking
I think
Thieves.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, look at it. We got, I guess the biggest difference would be in supports, where we've got a rookie, you guys got a veteran, but then we both have world champion ADCs. We both have incredible Korean top laners who are both having a little bit of struggle. And then we've both got really, really solid junglers. And that's not something I was expecting to say about Lyra coming into the split, but he has very much impressed me. I think he's much more back to that Envy Lyra that we saw a couple years ago. And Onda has been doing great since the Worlds one, really. He's just been rock solid doing his job, never really getting mentioned that often, but he's always right there with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of split opinion on it, and I feel like a lot of people may have not watched Worlds or something and saw like what this guy was doing.
The Jin Zhao, they might have just written off Group 4 since it had, the world winner and the finalist right there. So just a little bit of tough competition for you guys. I don't blame them for skipping it.
Yeah.
Thanks for acknowledging that. That helps.
There
that,
we
that
go.
makes it
See,
feel
we're
better.
friends
Yeah.
here.
Hey,
This is a wholesome show.
Just to point out, the jacket here is Fnatic. So,
Oh, okay.
okay.
All right.
I was paying very close attention.
Dual
I
Aegis.
saw
Okay.
your pain.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. So you're half as loyal to your team as I am to mine. Is that what you're saying? Okay. All right.
Oh, no. I'm not recording in my closet, so I don't have all my clutch gear hanging up right behind me. So.
Fair enough. Jordan, what's your take on Lyra being the lone man standing and how he's performed so far this split?
Oh, you mean the sole representative from last season's roster?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting kind of dynamic, and that was one thing I wanted to ask you about, Zach, is, when you look at the team, really the only piece that is the same is Lyra. And I know that he's not been last season. He wasn't your guys' favorite player by any stretch. So as a fan, how do you kind of reconcile this completely new look team with the jersey they're wearing and saying, that's my team, when really what you're looking at is Lyra with a bunch of new guys?
Yeah, I mean, not gonna lie, my initial reaction was very negative when I saw that they'd kept Lyra. Lyra was the sore thumb on the team all of summer. He did not look great. And honestly, I thought that if they had kept some of the other members of the team and swapped out Lyra, that they would have done a lot better. But as it's come to light, as I've talked to more people behind the scenes about stuff, Lyra really is the core of this new team. He's that kind of middleman. He's been in NA for a long while, along with Piglet and now Huni, but he's still a Korean-style jungler. And because they're bringing in more Koreans who speak Korean with him, he does still have English troubles, actually. It allows the team to really gel together better. Whereas last year you had a lot of trust issues. You had Febivin and Solo wanting to play one way, Apollo and Hakuho wanting to play another way. And then you had Lyra, who's like, guys, we just need to play aggressive. You just need to go do stuff. And nobody would follow him. So then he did get caught out and he did look like a sore thumb. Mm-hmm. And having all of that talk kind of come to light that the team was not at all gelling. You knew something was wrong in summer, but just that the team wasn't coming together at all. It really makes sense why Lyra was the one that they kept.
Yeah. Well, let me do an analogy here, because I'm guessing that there may be some listeners out there who have played poker, and I'm not talking about Hold'em. I'm talking about classic poker, right? Now, when you're playing an opponent and it comes time to trade in your cards, and that opponent goes, I'll take 4. If I'm playing against that guy, I am dumping my chips in. All right. And we just took 2. That's all we took. We just took a respectable 2. And I'm thinking that may leave us holding a higher hand as well, just to have some remnants of synergy from last year. Though, to be fair, that's something that I think we're working on is getting our new players adapted to the playstyle that 100 Thieves has. And
exactly,
if I'm being super honest, we may be even getting to the point where we have to adapt 100 Thieves playstyle to the new players a little bit, So at least meet in the middle.
A little bit of counterpoint there. We're not exactly playing regular poker here. We're not trading in 4. We're taking 2 and 2 from other people's hands that already work together.
You're like Go Fish times a million.
I'll take these.
Yeah,
bring them. Yep.
Yeah, we're playing cheating poker here because it's a 10-card hand with the Academy roster, right? So
So you've got the ones in your sleeve. We get one of these.
Yeah, and then our buddy Echo Fox over here is like, hey, we'll take 3. You give us 2, right? And, yeah.
There's some card trading happening.
This is like the messiest card game I think I've ever heard of.
I'm just saying, I would not be betting in this poker game.
Yeah, we've kind of taken the initiative with the branding here, and we're calling this the Red Rivalry. I don't think we've talked about that yet, but if you look at the logos, we're the 2 teams with red, which is the extreme exception. In every other sport, I think every other team is red. But this is a battle to decide who claims the red title within the league. But I just want to say, I think I'm actually super excited for this. And it's not just because we're on a podcast. I need to act excited. I think you have a compelling matchup in every position, and so I cannot wait to watch this match. For as a league fan, I hope that it's a super compelling and close match. Obviously, I hope that we win. But you look at the top lane. I think Someday and Huni both have really compelling stories. Like they're both historic carries up top. They both have this reputation of smashing people. And I would say, as of late, Huni has been he's been pushed aside a little bit. Like people think he's maybe past his prime, where Someday's coming up. So I know that these guys both want to go out there and prove that they are still the top to be reckoned with in NA. Mm-hmm. We've talked about jungle, mid lane, who he's got a lot to prove. And Damonte, I'd say, is right now probably one of the strongest domestic mid laners.
He is the KDA leader in the LCS right now.
That's huge. Dang, that hurts. Oh,
yeah. It hurts. But look, I'm telling you, I'm taking off my Thieves hat for just a second. I'm saying there's so much to be excited for in this matchup, which I think for 2 young organizations is actually an incredibly exciting thing. And I kind of think of it, to make a traditional sports analogy, it's almost like you have your other conference school, right? So even if you are a rival with them, you want to see them succeed so that when it comes time to play each other, there's fireworks, people are paying attention, and it's a good match. And so I think we're going to get that all across the board. I'm super excited, and it's I hope that people aren't just looking at this as a 2-2 team versus a 1-3 team, because I think it's actually a lot more than that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I think both of our teams are real contenders for the playoffs this split, and I'd be very surprised if one of our teams didn't make it. Honestly, I know you guys have had a really rough start, but I do expect things to start clicking. I just don't want them to click right yet.
Yeah, maybe if we wait a week, you'll feel more comfortable.
Yeah, just a day. How about that? Just not Saturday.
Yeah,
how about Sunday? You guys
That's it. Turn on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's really hard to just have a handle on where everybody stands right now, because obviously it's very apparent that 100 Thieves is not quite firing on the cylinders that we thought they would going into this, and in our opinions, it's a kind of a matter of time before we sort that out. And then at the same time, your roster was talked about in, I think Seb used the term high variance, right? Which this could work really well, or it could really not work. And you guys sitting kind of right in the middle of everything, I think you still have shown some strength. And there are a lot of teams where we just don't know what they are yet. And I think we've got about 2 more weeks of play, or maybe even 3 more weeks of play, before we can start truly sussing out, okay, this is where we predict everybody's going to end up in the standings. But I honestly am bullish on both of our chances for success. So that's cool to say. But all right, going back to being a little more confrontational here.
Yeah.
All right.
Make your prediction. Who wins this game?
I mean, you need to ask. It's Clutch Gaming.
All right. So you're suggesting that 100 Thieves is going to lose this game?
Absolutely, yes.
And you believe Clutch is the better team?
Yeah.
Can you look into your webcam right now and say Clutch is the better team?
Clutch is 100% the better team. Oh yeah.
Wow. That is a lot of confidence. Let's look ahead a little bit.
I'm not used to doing this stuff live.
Hey, this is what real entertainment is, man. We're putting ourselves out there for the people. Actually, you did very well. It was very convincing, and
that was.
I have a feeling I'm gonna be replaying that in my nightmares. So, so beyond just this matchup that's coming up, what do you consider a successful season for Clutch? Like, is it we got a playoff spot, or is it we made like NA finals, or is it we made it to Worlds? What are you gonna call your success?
Oh, as an overall season, making it to Worlds is definitely a success. I'd say top 4 this split is definitely getting it into that success. If we can actually make it back to that same level we were last spring, where we're fighting for 3rd, 4th place spot and the honor of going to Rift Rivals and smashing EU, then yeah, I definitely say that that's success this split. Success right now is just, winning games, but
so you're not, I mean, I feel like the league is stacked right now, and and I'd say it feels more stacked than it did last season at any point.
Absolutely.
And I think time will tell whether or not that is actually the case, or whether these teams just don't gel like we think they might. But you're saying like you're shooting for the top 4, and potentially you're looking to go to Worlds here.
Oh yeah.
So in your mind, if you guys don't make it to Worlds, would you say that this season was not a success?
Yeah. No, I think I would. I think last season was unsuccessful because we had such a deep slump. Fell all the way down to 9th there at the very end of summer. I think that's definitely a failure. I think you can fail less and be okay and run it back next year. But I definitely think that success is making it to Worlds. Even if it's the 3rd place spot, you're still making it to Worlds.
Yeah. Jordan had an interesting question that I wanted to throw at you. And this is kind of like on a tangent on a new topic, so forgive me for jumping around a little bit, but we talked a little bit about some of the roster changes that were made on your side. So you being a Clutch Gaming focused show and a fan, can you give us your thoughts on kind of what it's like to be fans of players versus fans of an org, and which is there room for both? How do you handle people who really feel attached to a player when they leave the team that they're also rooting for? Just kind of what's your take and philosophy on that?
See, I've always been a fan of teams first, rather than players. That's just what I've attached to. When I first started watching, it was Fnatic, and then it was Cloud9. And even as these teams changed, I still rooted for that banner and that org. It still had names that I recognized, even if they were new names. And then coming over to Clutch, that's kind of the same way that I took it. When they picked up Feviven and I heard that, I was like, wow, all right, this is not just a meme team. These are guys I can really, really root for and mean it. And that's really what drew me into Clutch Gaming more so than anything else. Is I looked at Apollo and Hakuho and I was like, wow, these guys were really good. Lero was great on Envy. Solo I have no idea about, but if he works with these guys, I mean, that's incredible. And it turned out that in spring they absolutely did. And then you saw the struggles they had, and now the team's not the same team. And I'm still a fan of Clutch. I do root for Apollo and Hakuho. I think they're great guys when I got to chat with them. I still root for Feviven over in EU. Oh, and Solo's with them too. I'm sorry, Solo. I do not mean to be so very, very disrespectful. But seriously, that I root for the players, but at the same time, my heart belongs to the team. It really does.
Yeah. It's always a tough dynamic. I mean, it's I don't think we're alone in esports as fans of traditional sports teams kind of go through the same thing. I know, like, I see players that I really root for in the NBA, and then they hop teams, back and forth, and it's kind of hard because you want to root for a team, you want to support the team, but you also love the players and want to support the players. I think the difference, or maybe the challenge, is just historically with so much change in teams, with relegation and teams not knowing how long their organization is actually going to exist. Yeah, there's just that tension there, and because of that, I think historically fans have been more attached to players. So obviously you and us, we've kind of taken stances, for teams now, and building our little tiny wonderful shows around these teams that we love so much.
We're growing.
Tiny for now, but yeah,
yeah.
This cross-pollination, we're going to get all your fans. You're going to get all our fans. This is going to take over Twitch, baby.
Absolutely.
But yeah,
domination, the end goal.
Right. I think that I think it's just really something cool that you guys are building, and we want to help build it too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. So one final question. So which would you rather see? Team Liquid wins another split, or 100 Thieves hangs a banner at the end of this year?
Oh man, that's so difficult.
Save the best for last.
Yeah, wow. I mean, I definitely rather see you guys hang a banner.
Yes,
honestly.
you heard it. He's
man,
a 100 Thieves fan.
My man.
Yes. It might as well be you guys, right?
Look, I'm not gonna lie. I have the exact same answer.
Yeah. Well, yes, I too would rather see 100 Thieves hang a banner than Team Liquid. I'll just put that out.
Don't get me wrong. Liquid is a beast of a team, but they've kind of taken that super villain, super team kind of stance. Yeah. And I think a lot of people are starting to just root for them to come down rather than anything else.
Yeah, actually, that's a really interesting point too, because if we maybe make the analogy that they're kind of like the Golden State Warriors or something, where they're just accumulating everybody's best assets. Yeah, at some point, right? Doesn't the love train kind of stop?
Yeah, and I think we're about to reach that point. Honestly, I think them acquiring Jensen upset a lot of the Cloud9 fans that were. I think a majority of them are more Cloud9 fans than they are Jensen fans. No offense to Jensen, but I think that's just kind of how the winds are blowing right now, is that Team Liquid, by taking Jensen, much less so Core JJ, but more so with Jensen, that they're hurting their competition more so than just strengthening themselves. And I think people take that really, really poorly.
Yeah. Well, yes. And I think that it's going to be really interesting to see how the rest of Split plays out with Team Liquid being an obvious favorite. And to see if that kind of switch flips when it comes time for Worlds and everybody becomes like NA fans in general, and now it's like, oh, we're rooting for the people we were rooting against. It's kind of an interesting dynamic to see, and we'll just have to watch how this plays out. I want to take a minute to thank Chris tonight for the sub. Welcome. And hope you've enjoyed this kind of mini show. So let's tell them about the wager. Okay.
Oh yes.
All right. Do
The
you
wager.
want to tell them about the wager?
Well, sure. My dad, being the crazy, wonderful man that he is, started the wager by saying, "We'll give the bottle of Texas's best tequila to whoever wins." To which we totally stumped you guys for about a minute, and then you came back and said, "Well, what if we make an intro to your podcast if you win?" And I was like, "Well, let's take the tequila off the board then, because that's a pretty good wager." So now, whoever loses is going to have to make a podcast intro for the winners. So.
Now, for our listeners who may not be familiar with your show, George has the most wonderful, practiced, beautiful radio voice you'll ever hear in your entire life. And
I've
I just
been doing it since a teenager.
yeah,
Like,
so
he's
years and
forever
years
a
of
voice
experience,
maker,
right?
yeah.
And I just want to say I'm looking so forward to having his dulcet tones be our podcast intro. It's just going to be amazing. It's like getting like the top of the game for free. It's just wonderful.
You realize that when we win this, you guys are going to have to pull off an euphorium, car emporium style of intro for us, and that's exactly what we're going to do for you.
Well, I mean, we'll see what happens. I think if in whatever parallel universe where 100 Thieves loses, I think we come up with something pretty spectacular, maybe unexpected for you guys.
Spectacular as in actually good, or spectacular Siver? Because I got gifted that a long time ago, and I still refuse to wear it.
I think I'll put it this way. I think you'll be blown away by what we would turn in on the 1 out of a million chance that we were to lose that game.
You'll never hear it, but if you were to hear it, you would agree. It's spectacular. You have to just take our words for it.
Yeah.
We'll see. We shall see.
I mean,
go ahead.
it might be so good that we just do it anyway. Let's just be honest here.
True. I mean, ours, I'm already writing it up as we speak. Just, just to give you guys a little consolation prize after we mop the floor.
Man. All right. This guy is super spicy. We got to get him off the show. Let's do this first, though. We'll remind our listeners and our new fans coming from your guys' world, because, I'm sure you'll all switch which team you're rooting for as soon as you lose. Jordan and I are actually traveling out to LA, and we'll be there for the game this weekend. And we are going to be in person, just smiling so big as the confetti comes down. And we'll do our best to send all the pictures and videos directly to your DM inbox so that you can see all the 100 Thieves celebration going on and not miss a second of it.
Are you bringing your own confetti? 'Cause
Oh,
this is
yes.
the finals, my friend.
Yes, sir. I've got
Okay,
I've got an entire suitcase full of confetti. It's already packed for when I leave. Yeah,
just to
it's
have
really
confetti,
light, man. I have no issues with the weight limit on the plane. It's great.
But you're
I
never
got the
going to use it.
vuvuzela.
Throw it for us? Like,
I'll tell you what. If 100 Thieves
it works.
if 100 Thieves loses, I'll still run out and throw the confetti on them. I'll throw the suitcase at one of your players, and then I'll run out before they arrest me. How about that?
Hang on. Not the suitcase. Not the whole suitcase. Come on.
Oh man. Well, again, can you tell everybody where to find your show, because they want to hear about your sulking and everything after this weekend.
Oh, well, if you want to hear what we're like when we're victorious, you can always come listen to Overreaction Monday. That's going to be our Monday podcast. We're at League Leaders. That's League_Leaders1 on Twitter. You can also follow me. I'm Zach Lindsey. It's at ZLINDSEY01 on Twitter. Honestly, my dad does this so much that I'm just like totally blanking.
Where can they find the
Also
pod?
find us on SoundCloud. That's where our podcast is. Or you can always come to the amazing Clutch Gaming subreddit. We post all of our episodes there. We are working on getting on other platforms. I've been told this is a great post for a mixtape when people find out it's on SoundCloud. But I promise you, it is a podcast. It is a podcast.
I mean, why not both? Why not both? Matter of
you
fact,
don't wanna
maybe
hear me
that's
rap,
the
first of
podcast intro you can do for us, would be like the single off the mixtape.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
We'll save some room on the SoundCloud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, this is all in good fun. We are very big fans of your show and what you do, and we appreciate the chance to be on your show and have you with us as we build this really, really fun rivalry. And oh my goodness, as we get Chris and I in chat giving away subs to everybody who's here. We got Chris and I gifting 5 subs out. Thank you so much, Chris and I.
Gaming itself.
Including the Clutch Gaming. So Clutch Gaming can now spam the emote that I'm about to drop in here, the wonderful 100 Talk iron. Jordan, can you demonstrate the significance of this iron?
Yeah. So here it is. This is the iron itself. You can see in the analog version. 100 Thieves branded. It's official.
It's
so,
branded.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, branded. This is 1 of 1, and yeah. So yeah, if you need this in your Twitch life, just go ahead and sub the channel.
Yeah. This is one of the most exclusive emotes you can have, and it just has this universal meaning of how wonderful we are. So we want
years from now,
it's
going to be on Antique Roadshow, and somebody's going to get gypped for only $50.
Oh my goodness! Well, since you mentioned it, I have to go and watch Antiques Roadshow, so that's what we're gonna do. Everybody, thanks for listening. We're all 3 of us are gonna watch Antiques Roadshow on this channel later. If you want to join in, come back. Join us on Twitch for Antiques Roadshow. Let's play Antiques Roadshow. Oh man. You are now a part of this, Zach, whether you like it or not.
I feel like the taxidermy lemur. All I can do is hold up my hands and go.
Well, you like it or not, this is what you've gotten yourself into. So we thank you. We thank you so much. Everybody, appreciate you tuning in. We look forward to seeing you when we stream our next show. We'll be announcing the winners of the Royalty Tee giveaway. So if you want the blue 100 Thieves shirt, you still have time to enter, so look on our Twitter. You definitely want it. Trust me, you definitely want it. And it's not this one. It's even a brand new one in the package. It's going to be awesome.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's going to be awesome. I mean, if you want my personal one, that's got like all of my oils. I can't even finish it. I can't even finish it.
We got to go.
Oh, we got to go. Abort. We're done. Everyone, thanks for listening. This was super, super fun, and we'll do this again, definitely.
Yep.
Thanks for listening to 100 Talk. We'll